Back here on the morning huddle. My name is RJ Ochoa. It is March. The madness is here, and we have brought the very best, the most professional, the dashing, the debonair, the internationally famous. It is the one and only Ernie Johnson. Ernie, thank you so much for joining us here on 94.1.
RJ, thanks, man. Good talking to you. How's everything in San Antonio these days?
It's all great. Victor Wembanyama is the talk of the town. I'm very, I might as well start here. You have seen a lot of basketball in your day, a lot of basketball players. Your thoughts on Wemby, you've given them, but to us specifically, what are your thoughts as his rookie season winds down?
Oh man, I'm very impressed. I was impressed at the start, and I'm impressed with his staying power here late in the year to be putting up the kind of numbers he's been putting up. That game he had the other night with, shoot, it must have been 30, 15, 7 and 7 blocks was just ridiculous. I'm with Pop. He says we're going to be seeing things out of this kid you've never seen before. We already are. And so he's very impressive, and I love his poise. He joined us on All-Star Weekend and was just a delight to be around, man. So the league is lucky to have him, a kid with poise and a future that's just ridiculous.
You mentioned the numbers. We like to call the new 5x5 thing that like had never happened before. That's just a Wemby. If you guys want to go with that, that's up to y'all. Because when
I'll use it. I'll steal it, and I'll give you credit for it.
That's hey, by all means. But so I mean, because when it's all said and done, he's going to have a million of these things. You mentioned All-Star Weekend, obviously, and you guys did such a great job with him. And in general, it was around then that the conversation was percolating around who could be the future face of the NBA. You mentioned Wemby's poise. He's obviously an incredibly mature young man. Do you think he has that potential? Obviously, so people talk about the Spurs and so many different lights. But does Victor have the chance to be a legitimate face and power driver for the association as a whole?
Oh, without question, and because part of that is personality too. So he's got all these skills and he's got personality. He's just 20 years old. I mean, come on, I don't even want to think about what I was doing when I was 20 years old, and I certainly didn't want to do it on a world stage. So certainly he can. And what helps that is if your team is winning. So if his skills translate into San Antonio returning to the kind of dominance it once enjoyed, then he can't help but be the face. So yeah, that can certainly happen.
You're speaking our language. We were talking to the great Ernie Johnson here on 94.1, San Antonio sports star. You know, Ernie, that we love our basketball in San Antonio, not
Yeah.
just the Spurs, of course, the collegiate level as well. Lots of Final Fours, upcoming one. I know we're excited to see you soon enough. What are your thoughts as we get set to kind of start the tournament in earnest here this week? It feels a little bit more chaotic than usual, but again, we're fascinated to hear what you have to say.
Hey, we love chaos this time of year, don't we? I mean, that's what makes the tournament so special. Um, and look, it's always been one of my favorite things, not just to watch, but to cover. We've had for over a dozen years, we've been teaming up with CBS, and bringing the tournament to folks. So the unpredictability is what's great. And I think the real charm of the tournament, how it brings folks together, how it shrinks the world a little bit. Even if you're not a big basketball fan, you got a bracket you're filling out, and all of a sudden you're a big fan of James Madison. It's so I love that aspect of it. And another aspect, and this is what's kind of gone into you and I talking today. Folks at Buffalo Wild Wings got a hold of me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in being part of this promotion that we've got, this Beat the Buffalo?" And well, give me details. And so yeah, so they got this Buffalo named Jack who stands out in the field, and they put team names behind him, and whichever direction he looks, that's his pick. And so he did a men's bracket and a women's bracket, and and the thing about it, it's not just that; it's that excuse me, folks like you and anybody else out there can enter their bracket. And if you beat Jack the Buffalo, you got a chance to go to the Final Four next year, men's or women's, and win a year's supply of wings. So that's what's at stake in this tournament. And I don't know if you've seen the video we put out, but it's interesting. It's interesting that he has McNeese winning the whole thing. I think that's a unique take, although McNeese, could surprise somebody and win a game or two. But I think that's, and what I loved about, I think he was I think he had me in mind when he picked Yale to beat Auburn in their opener. because if that happens, we're on the air in New York doing the studio show. There will be some good fodder that I can torture Charles with. But yeah, it was fun to watch. And look, it's a fun time of year. And everybody's got a bracket, and everybody's got reasons that they pick teams that they do, just like Jack does. And Jack, when he did the women's bracket, he had number one seeds get knocked out automatically,
Yeah.
And had had the Colorado Buffaloes winning, which is not surprising for a
Yeah.
Buffalo.
No bias.
No, exactly.
The great Ernie Johnson, once again with us here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I actually, Ernie, got in with this station by winning a contest myself, and I this is no joke, won a year's supply worth of wings. Now we don't have to discuss where they were
come
from.
on, really? No.
They weren't. Again, I won't let you know where they were from, but it really was a year's supply of wings, and it's turned into a great career for me, and I'm really grateful to God for that. But
Yeah.
in a sense, that's a little bit of what this time of year kind of is all about. I mean, why can't it be McNeese? Why can't Jack be the first person to have the perfect bracket? I mean, this is Kate McAllister said it in Home Alone. This is truly the season of perpetual hope, and that's what people love so much about the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, without question, man. It's such a fun time, and I think again, to the point of just it brings the fringe fan in there too. Yeah, you can be a diehard college basketball fan, but you know what? Your bracket may lose out to an office mate who doesn't know if the ball's blowing up or stuff. But that's the way it goes. And so it's a great time of year. Can't wait to see how it plays out. I can't wait to see if anybody is able, because see what I think. I think if UConn trots the same guys out every night, going to be very, very difficult to beat UConn in this tournament. But I think that's why they play them, man. And if I have to, before you even ask, do you have a sleeper? Samford's going to the Sweet 16. Okay.
That's a popular pick, but enough, hipster enough to where you're kind of in on the cool crowd, Ernie. So the incredible Ernie Johnson with us here. Who would have thought you and me, Ernie, we'd be here breaking bread, talking about wings and Jack the Buffalo and all sorts of stuff. As you leave, how many titles does Victor win when it's all said and done?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I'll give him at least one.
Okay, we'll take it for now.
At least one. At least one. That's a really hard question, but I think he has the stuff to lead a team there.
That's very well said. Ernie Johnson, enjoy the tournament. We will be watching, and we will go where you take us. We appreciate it as always. Have a great call and have a lot of fun.
Appreciate you. Thanks, man.